Well, you know what they say, all good things must come to an end, and in this case, the 2024 season may not have been that good a thing, but it comes to an end anyway. Phoenix Rising lose 2-1 on the night to New Mexico United in the first round of the USL Championship Playoffs. Welcome into the PHNX Rising post-game show. I'm Owain Evans. I'm joined by Rees Goodall, and we've got to go through this one now. It's not the end of a season you'd want if you're Phoenix Rising, not the end of the season in particular because of who you lost to, but also just following up I remember the start of this year, this being branded the Campeones Tour, and
Yep.
this is not really the way you'd anticipate it ending.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing end to a very disappointing season. I mean, you just brought up that Campeones Tour. I don't remember seeing any of that marketing since May, really. I mean, the match really just kind of summed up how the season went in my eyes. You know, it felt like a lot of promise with that when Rising scored, and then it just comes crashing down from there. I'm sure we'll talk about that opening goal for New Mexico and if that crossed the line or not, but that is very controversial there.
Indeed, and at the same time, the question beyond that obviously is, did Rising do enough to negate something like that?
Yeah.
One decision goes against you like that. There's not really something you can brandish around as an excuse. Some people think it crossed. I've known people here are saying, no, it definitely didn't cross. I don't know. It's a real weird mixed bag. It's a real weird end to a season where people are already alluding to in the chat, and shout out to the chat, by the way, that Parmadou Carr probably coming in as head coach in the near future. Right now, obviously, it is interim coach Diego Gómez still in charge. We will hear from him later in this show. We will play the full post-game interview with Diego Gómez, in which I did ask him if he had a parting message for the supporters, given this is very plausibly his last ever game, and he did have a message. So you can read into that exactly as you will. Just generally, I think pretty disappointing end. Look, we can start, I think, let's talk through the game as a whole and start with the lineup. Do we think in this case he got it right? There were no changes besides Pat, my boy, coming in for Mo Traore at the back. Obviously, Pat missed that last game in Louisville, but Rising losing that one 4-1 to come in here and that be the only change made. What do you think on that one? Right move, wrong move?
I do think Edgardo Rito played well in that Louisville fixture, but I don't think he was the right choice for this fixture. We saw once Darius Johnson came on and replaced him in like the 70th minute or so, that Darius kind of brought a spark to Rising's attack. And again, I feel like too little times this season we saw Gerald Margarita and Darius Johnson play together. But in those limited times, we both thought that both of them brought sparks to this lineup that this team hasn't had all season. But I can understand, or I can't understand that one, but one I can kind of understand is keeping Tomas Angel in there over Remy Cabral, but still, it's one that I'd like to see Remy Cabral in there.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, again, I just feel you look at Tomas Angel, we can be honest, right? He came in as a loan signing and the guy was a bust.
Yeah.
He was brought in as the game changer at that time of the year and never really hit the form that you'd need. And it happens, especially for forwards, right? Confidence can be a big part of it. Confidence up, confidence down. You know, that impacts what kind of chances you're going to get. But it just didn't really work. Now, the first half, we talk about the first half overall. It was a very dull first half in a lot of ways. I think Rising definitely had the best of it. They created more chances. They had the opportunity to score more often than New Mexico did. New Mexico only took one shot in the entire first half, and it was kind of a hit and hope from distance. But it also was just a very cagey affair. It was one of those games where I think you go into it as a playoff game and you're more worried about not committing errors at the back than you are about finding ways to break through up top.
Yeah, it was a very typical playoff match, and that's what a lot of the ones in this playoffs have been. Lots of cagey affairs. We saw it with the Vegas game. You could point to a lot of different ones like that. But Rising did look better in that first half. They created a few chances, but again, there's just nothing. There's just not that final ball, that final shot, which again, how many times have we said that? You could say all 35 games and the two Open Cup games, all 37 could have had that same story at one point or another. And then the second half, that's the first 10 minutes were both teams had chances, but from there it kind of stalled out. But again, I just Rising could not create chances when they needed to.
That was one of those things. Rising get the goal, and then not too long after the break, but from there on, they find ways to, I guess, take a little bit out of the game. But it's just the way they concede that.
Yeah.
I mean, we will, I think, never have an answer, and I make this clear now. We will never have a definitive answer about how or whether that ball crossed the line entirely. Entire ball, entire goal. We'll never have a definitive answer. A lot of people seem to think it probably did cross. There are some people who are still arguing it didn't. I don't know. And again, we'll never. It's why when I see people arguing things like VAR wouldn't have changed that. There was
Yeah.
nothing that told me, looking at it definitively, that the assistant referee got that decision wrong. I don't know. And ultimately, no one in this league is paying for goal line technology. Probably quite hard to install in a place like this anyway, some of these weird configurations.
Yeah.
So you get what you get in those ones. I mean, they wanted the I don't know. But that definitely, I think, changes it a bit. I do think that Rising, though, even ignoring the first goal conceded, probably it felt like they were doing okay after that point, didn't it?
Yeah, New
Some
Mexico.
chances.
Yeah, New Mexico struggled. I mean, the one shot is really what you saw or what you need to know from that first half. There was a part where it was late in the first half, sorry, where Greg Hirsch was not through on goal, but he had who I think is Chris Gloucester to the left of him in space to maybe drive down that left wing and play a ball into the box, find someone. And he opts to play it back to Marco Micheletto. Micheletto gets himself into a little trouble, can't play the ball forward. And that wasn't a Rising error or Rising being good that forced Greg Hirsch in that error, but that it was just New Mexico weren't able to take advantage of that opportunity. But Rising did do a good job in other phases of the game of just stopping New Mexico from building, and it's just two bad goals to concede.
I tell you what, we'll take this one. By the way, shout out to everyone in here, everyone joining us. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. We love all of you. We will take the one super chat here we got earlier today from Andrew Dang. Thank you, Andrew. He was bringing in about Quajo running wide on the wing, and I think this is something that we've obviously seen happen regularly under Diego Gómez, the attacking Quajo kind of approach here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rees today in the context of this game, what did you think about Quajo's performance and just at large, the way he's being used?
It's always risky to play like that. We've brought that up a million times. But I thought in that first half he brought moments to the game. He was in spaces that we were able to get Rising some chances. But then again, you're playing with that risk. And he didn't quite deliver the performance that you want to see and that you've seen at times from this season. Where I have thought at times when he's been used in this role that he's been a welcome addition. He's been it's been good. But today it just was not it, and I don't think you can abandon that tactic for today's match by any means. You have to stick with what's not got you here, but what you've been doing for so long. But today it just was not his day whatsoever.
No, indeed. And, we see some people, they got him on Pat worst player on the pitch. Maybe a little bit harsh, that one. But overall, though, New Mexico, then, they find a breakaway. They find a way to sneak through there on the counter-attack. You almost imagine, because Greg Hurst is making the run, you can kind of see Greg, he strays offside, and you're thinking, is he about to put a ball through? And wisely, the player out wide, they hang on to the ball, wait until they get themselves into a pretty good position, and just knock it across the face of goal. It's not dealt with by Rising, and it's turned in. It's one of those goals that you concede on a quick break like that. It's one of those goals that, I mean, realistically, you have to deal with a quick break a bit earlier than that. But again, it's not as though New Mexico created a whole lot of chances besides the goals they scored.
No, they just didn't have the shots. Rising outshot New Mexico. It's just, to me, I mean, I don't think Rising did a good job creating chances whatsoever. I don't think anyone's going to debate that.
Half chances, wasn't it? It was a standard Phoenix Rising performance in a lot of ways. It was the half chances. It wasn't a great deal there, but.
It was I said earlier, it's a very playoff-like match. It's when you think of a knockout match, a cup match, you kind of think of this. Both teams not creating much defensive style, and that's frustrating for when you're Rising because you struggle to break down teams, you struggle to get the goals, and the goal that they scored is something that we talked about before the first New Mexico game and before this game. Alex Tambakis spills the ball way too much, and it cost New Mexico a lot of times today. It didn't cost him the game, but it cost him a goal. Federico Varela took advantage of it, but still, they just, I mean, to me, Jordan Pickford's the guy you point to in tournaments where if you get a shot on target, you might score. Tambakis is similar because of how he spills it. The Rising just couldn't get the shots on target in areas that created danger.
All right, talking about numbers there, let's bring in By the Numbers, brought to you by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, as named by Forbes. Phoenix Rising there with an expected goals tally 0.78, not really going to get it done. New Mexico's wasn't much higher on 1.03. Rising do take the edge in the possession in the end, and yeah, shots. They have more shots there. They have more shots. They have more shots on goal, but they're not good shots. That's the key thing here. It sums up the season as a whole there. And it's pretty disappointing, I think, overall. And Rising, yes, they pushed for it at the end. I mean, they have a few corners late on. It just wasn't enough there. Wasn't enough there. Which, again, I guess, story of the season.
Mm-hmm. And just taking a look at the XG, New Mexico had 2 chances worth of more than 0.2 XG. They scored both. Rising didn't create 1 chance worth more than 0.2. The closest one was 0.189, and that was the goal. And again, this is just, I don't want to say it again, but it's the story of the season. They're not creating chances, and when they do, they're not good chances.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah. They're not. All right. Well, when we come back from the break, we will hear from Phoenix Rising interim head coach Diego Gómez. But first, we're going to talk to you about our friends at Branded Bills. Now, Phoenix Rising may have let you down tonight, but Branded Bills will not let you down, and they definitely will not let you down. If you use that promo code PHNX, save 20% off your first order. All kinds of hats in there. You can get the ASU hat. Big ASU win this weekend.
Big one. Big. Love to see
it. You can get the U of A hat. Damon, how did U of A do this weekend?
Haha.
Okay, well, he's not going to hop in on that one.
I can't curse anymore, Owen.
Okay. He's disappointed, but I mean, hey, in your misery, you can still wear the hat. It's a nice hat.
My uncle got one. He keeps telling me how much he likes it. So
there we go. It's always good stuff from Branded Bills. They're a local company from the Valley, so make sure to support them. Again, ASU, U of A, all other kinds of hats as well. They do custom stuff as well. Whatever kind of hats you like, snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, they have them all. So use that promo code PHNX to save 20% off your first order. And of course, we got to give our friends a shout out from Circle K. Circle K, it's America's thirst stop, and of course, you know, it's where I went yesterday to grab myself a box of something that's been put in the hotel fridge and is waiting for me when we've come off air here. I made sure to stock up ready. We know this is New Mexico. Stuff doesn't stay open late, especially not on a Sunday. So we got stocked up, and they had the good stuff there, and it was reasonably priced. I'll put it this way. I had 2 drinks in the hotel bar. I got a whole box out of Circle K for cheaper than that. And, if you're going to Circle K, I know some guys here drove over. Make sure to fill up there. And you can save money when you fill up too by signing up for the Inner Circle program. You save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents per gallon every day. And you get more if you move up the levels as well. And of course, they've got the deals like the any size pull-up pop for 79 cents. Always good stuff. Make sure to go join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. And of course, terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Right. Should we get right into it? Should we hear now from the man himself? It is Phoenix Rising interim head coach, Diego Gómez.
Obviously sad because we are out. Disappointed with the result. I think we deserve more in this game. I think the team controlled most of the part, created the most, but we didn't get the result. And this is finally a playoff. It's about getting the results. And 2 moments that they have set it other way.
Obviously, first half a bit cagey, not a whole lot of chances in there for either side. What changes were you looking to make at the break?
No, we were happy with the way that we played the first half. Anyhow, I think the team controlled the game. New Mexico sit low. We're moving a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more in their box. We have the chance with Fede. We have the run with Tommy that we didn't get us off over there. But I thought the team was doing a good job in the first half. We wanted to keep keep imposing the game and try to be a little bit more decisive in the box.
What kind of impact do you think it had once you'd taken the lead, just on both sides really going forward from there?
No, I think the 10 minutes after scoring the goal, maybe we didn't manage properly to take out a little bit of steam on the game, and also at the end it was just a set piece that they had, that they scored, and then they give them the good mentality. But after that, I think we were pushing again. We were back in the game, and the goal came from a goal kick, a rebound that connect a pass to a player that probably was offside anyhow. But it's football. They did a good chance, good job taking their chances.
How would you say the boys are coming out of that one? They look like some of them were pretty upset.
Yeah, we felt like we have it. We felt like it's a game that we have it for winning, and we are very disappointed for that.
And then obviously this could be your last game as a head coach here. Have you got a passing message for the fans?
Yeah, I'm very thankful for the support that they have put all the year. I know it has been a tough year in some moments for the fan, but we always feel their support as a team and personally. So very thankful for this year.
When another coach comes in, would you be open to a move to the back room, or would you want to move on to something else?
No, that's it's too soon to talk about those things. We were focused on the playoff, and I have not been thinking about it.
So yeah, there it is, the full post-game interview with Phoenix Rising interim head coach Diego Gómez. Of course, the talk is that Diego Gómez likely to be moved on in the near future, and I think when you listen to his words there, you know what's realistically coming. Right, there is a new coach coming in. This is it's what happens in this sport, but I think the nature of how that came out, the nature of that, and again, even beyond that, the season at large is something bigger than any coach, bigger than any individual tactical decisions that have been made. There are some real problems that this club does have to confront as they look ahead to the new season.
I mean, for Diego's time here of Rising, if this is the end, especially even or for his time as the interim head coach, I do think there were some positives. I've said multiple times I like the style of play. I liked playing with the role of Cuejo, but there were multiple mistakes in terms of lineup choices, which we talked about earlier tonight with playing on Hell, playing Rito. But again, I did like some of the things he did, but if this is the end, it was fun to watch at times, I guess.
At times, but then I think we saw some fun games from Danny Stone as well. Look, it's a complex one. It's a complex one to juggle. Again, this team's issues ran deeper. I brought it up in that interview, right, that there were some pretty distraught players coming off that field, and they were like, I see Renzo coming off. He looked utterly gutted. Rocco looked completely gutted. Pap was kind of being walked off with with one of the coaches there in his ear, kind of, trying to keep him chin up kind of after that game. Some of these boys have taken it hard, and I want to say this now, that there is no part of that game where I think is right to criticize the boys going out to fight tonight. They did do so, undoubtedly, and the issues run deeper than any coach, any player. The issues with this club, and we will get into this, I'm sure, in more detail as time goes on. The issues in this club run much deeper than anything like that. This club at no point this season did you feel like this team had all of the pieces they needed to go out and do what they needed to do. At no point this season did you look at this club and think they had everything out there. they followed up a championship with a mediocre season where they crashed out in the first round after finishing 8th with the lowest points tally that any team in the West has ever done so while getting into the playoffs. And they're going to enjoy their off season, I guess. At this point, it's time for a real rethink, I think, in a lot of ways of the way that this club works and the way that this club operates, and the way that this club makes its decisions. Because, quite frankly, I've witnessed now 3 mediocre seasons punctuated with a little comma in the middle that was a 4-game stretch where they just didn't lose, not really win, because 3 of those games have been draws. They didn't lose. And that kind of mediocrity can't be allowed to continue to fester.
No, I agree. I do think you're being a little harsh on last season. I think that last season showed a lot of promise, but now all
But it
the
was
promise
promise.
is
It was the
gone.
start of a
Yeah.
project, and then they
Yeah.
immediately hit the reverse. And it's why when I see
No, I
things
agree.
like comments from a sporting director about how, the whole point is so that if a coach leaves, the entire IP doesn't go out the window. Well, at the first time of asking into this current kind of model they're operating under, it completely failed. It blew up in their faces. The coach left, and all of a sudden they're scrambling for excuses. This club was poor this year. This club did not have all the pieces they needed this year. And it's time for certain people, I think, to actually hold their hands up and talk about that, and not just nod their heads along with the idea that, yes, we listen. It's time to just stop listening and time to start actually doing.
Yeah. And I think this offseason is going to be one of, if not the most important in Rising history, just because you're going to have to bring in a new manager. We've heard the rumors there, but then you're going to have to bring in players that fit the manager's style and the players that Rising need, fill the holes. And what players you bring back from this roster, that's a whole separate question. It's going to be very difficult. And then we've seen the problems with the fan attendance at times this season, fixing those. There's a lot that needs to be done this offseason. Is going to be jam-packed, and hopefully Rising come out from the better, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, this is not the PHNX Leeds podcast, by the way, Sly. Time to get rid of that.
It's the PHNX Wrexham podcast.
No, it's not that either. Don't make me give this up. Look, I think overall, just the simple fact is this team failed this year.
Yeah.
This team completely when I say team, by the way, I don't mean individual players. I don't mean even like I don't mean it as though it's wow, you boys went out there and completely failed tonight. That's not what I'm saying at all. This club as a whole failed to put themselves in a good position to win, and that rot runs deep. And again, this is not going to be, if they really want to fix things, I don't think this is going to be an easy process. There's a lot to go through. I'm sure I'll have a column in the very near future talking about this. By that, I mean, I know I'll have a column in the very near future talking about this. So keep an eye out for that on gophnx.com. But it's just a really, really, I think, terrible way. Also worth noting, I mean, for all of the talk, we've had this one on strikers being the problem this season, or lack thereof. There are no strikers coming back next season, as best I can tell. Not as your number 9s; they're both on loan. So that's another question that's going to come up and be a really prominent one as we look ahead to the, just looking ahead to the off season and looking at what they're going to do ahead of the new year. There's so many questions to be asked on that. And look, again, Phoenix Rising came out here, played an all right game of football. Came away with a loss. I mean, it just feels like the season. I think so much of today felt like this season at large.
Yeah, and I said that earlier. It's the struggle to create chances. Just on the pitch, struggle to create chances, get a goal from ugly goal, and then concede 2 that are ugly too. And then you lose. It's just so frustrating to see. And it's frustrating to talk about because you have to say the same thing every single time. How do you say it differently? And that's just... It's so. I mean, this Rising team. When they played at Casino Arizona Field, no free ads. Sorry, Max, but
he's not here. Ignore him.
He's not.
That's
true.
the name of a stadium. Ignore
true.
him.
I'm scared. I'm going to get a call from him though right now. But you go to that game.
He ain't coming in. Just if he calls you, decline it.
But like when you'd go to games at that stadium, there really was very few times where you were nervous that Rising would not play good. Like it was almost a guaranteed good performance from Rising, whether or not that was a win or draw or loss, whatever. And I know the league has gotten better. It's difficult to dominate the league like they did in 2019. Oh, hi Max.
Hang on,
but
let
still,
me just go block him while you.
Yeah, it's these past 3 seasons have not
Put
been
him in
Phoenix
timeout,
Rising.
Damon.
Like, yeah.
But just one of those ones. Right.
I'm
well,
getting
we'll
a call right
this.
now.
Ignore him.
I'm scared.
Don't pick up.
No, I just declined it.
Okay. I've just put him in timeout in the chat.
Max Simpson was banned and their comments were removed.
Great.
Bye,
That'll
Max.
do for me. He is going to be so angry for that one. Look, at the end of the day, we will get into this so much more tomorrow, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Mr. Vacations, where are you? Thank you, James Wilson. We'll get into this so much more tomorrow. We will break that down. We will look into, I think, some of the more detailed kind of things in terms of just looking a bit bigger picture with the club. We do have a show tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow evening, to break all of this stuff down. So make sure to join for that one. But before we do, let's have a quick look around where the league is right now. Let's have a look at the scores from across the league from this first round of playoff action there. Las Vegas advancing on a penalty shootout against Sacramento Republic after a 0-0 draw. Orange County, after extra time, picking up a 1-0 win on the road against 10-man Memphis. Charleston Battery, they get it done against their Bob Lilly side, their Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Early goal in that one, that was the difference. Detroit, they fall at home. Another of those shootouts that just had such a slow start as Tampa Bay Rowdies end up moving on there at Keyworth. Louisville City, probably a bit closer than they'd have liked there. A 3-2 win over North Carolina, but it does see them into the next round. Colorado Springs with a 2-0 win over Oakland. They're going to be hosting next week, and that's going to be cold up there. Indy 11 goes out after losing at home to Rhode Island. A J.J. Williams hat trick there, former Phoenix Rising player, and of course ending with the New Mexico 2, Phoenix 1. Let's have a look at the brackets so we can see what's coming up in the next round. Then New Mexico United, they're going to host Las Vegas Lights over in the west. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they'll be hosting Orange County. Again, cold one up there. It's going to snow, I believe, in midweek in Colorado Springs. So it is going to be chilly. Lou City, they'll be hosting Rhode Island, and Charleston Battery will be hosting the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So there we go. You can see there up in the top left-hand corner, Phoenix Rising, a little bit grayed out. It's never been more over, Rees.
It really hasn't. I mean, I don't even want to think about it anymore.
I'll just say this, though, and I'll make a comparison now to the other really disappointing season of Phoenix Rising, and that was 2022, is that at the very least, this team, I think you saw where the project was. The new coach had already taken over. There was a positive end note to end the season on. You got some wins late. You had a new coach in. You had an idea of where you were going. Yes, you've kind of got a new coach reported to be coming in, but you just don't have the same positive kind of spin you can put on the end of this season. So it's really not been a fun one. Tell you what, just one of those seasons now where you're ready to, I think, pack it all in and hopefully start again in a few months' time.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just the start of next season. I mean, last season, or you're talking back to 2022 when Juan Garrett came in, there was promise. There was that, not joy in the fan base, but there was, okay, here's what's coming. There's a project. You said that, but now they're until the new manager puts the warm up jacket with the badge on, there really won't be any promise in my eyes.
No, there won't be. One of those ones, right? Well, it's going to about bring us towards a close. Make sure, of course, if you aren't already a PHNX diehard, you can join the diehards. We've got a special introductory offer on right now. It is just $4 a month for your first year. You've got a very limited time to take advantage of this deal, so make sure you do it. You get access to all kind of fun things. You can come lament how miserable this is in the in the Discord at the moment. Everyone is kind of miserable, I think, right now, and that's just general. Yeah, you can come join that. There's a great community in there. You get access to all of our written content. You get a free t-shirt when you sign up as well from the PHNX locker. So make sure to do so if you haven't already. We appreciate all of the support. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at OJEvans18. Rees is at Rees11_. Max David Simpson is probably shouting into the void right now because we put him in timeout in the chat. So don't go follow him. You can follow the pod at PHNX__rising because double the underscores. Rees, you can do it.
Double the goals New Mexico scored tonight to eliminate
that's
Rising
a
for the
dismal
playoffs.
one. Don't do that. All right.
I couldn't think of anything, man.
Leave it at that. You can follow our producer Damon at DamonDog DAWG. And that's, I think, going to do it from us here. Coming to you from Isotopes Park in Albuquerque. Beautiful Albuquerque.
Did you have a good trip?
At least I'll be gone early in the morning. We'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.